Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another session of 123 Technicals. How are we all doing? Hope we're all doing fine. Yeah. For those that are joining for the first time, this is basically a market outlook session. We convene here every day to look at the opportunities the market have for us today, and then how we can catch those opportunities, how we can capitalize on those opportunities. For those that are new, I always send the videos to my YouTube channel, and then we just join heads together and see what we can get. Anyways, let's take a look at the fundamentals. We normally start with the fundamentals, and the fundamentals for today, we only have one high impact news by 1:30 p.m. That's GBP quarter on quarter. That's GDP for the quarter. For those that are used to economic terms, GDP is basically gross domestic product. It's like the total value of goods and services, total market value, the money value of goods and services in the country. So if it's high, if GDP is high, then it's good for the economy. So you guys can actually watch out for that. And if you don't have any fundamental trading strategy, then don't trade. Just if you have any positions on, you can move your stop loss to break even, or if you want to take any trade, then just be careful, minimize your risk and exposure. So that being said, let's move to our charts and then see what we have today. So those of you that are not new, those of you that know how we do this, we normally start with we normally start with the pairs I trade, and we always start with AED/USD. So let's see what AED/USD holds for us today. That is chance. Okay. Okay, this is a bit tricky. So this is basically what AED/USD did. We broke to the downside. We kind of like retested that neckline, but then we shifted structure immediately. And then we continued like that uptrend. And then we still shifted structure to the downside again. And then we did like a retest and a break again to the downside. And then now we're pushing up. I think the opportunities on this one basically lie. And let me look at the 4-inch and see what it looks like. We're still inside this 4-hour range. We have not broken above it or below it. We're still inside. We're still inside that 4-hour move. So in the long run, we're still bullish, but then short term, we're actually doing some bearish and bullish movements. So now, this one here, we have a break and then a retest and then another break to the downside. So let's go to the 15 minutes and see. On the 15 minutes here, we had that break and then we retested the neckline exactly, which was here. We tested it, we put deeper and then retested it, and then we flushed to the downside. And then I think we had a fake here. This was maybe a retest. And then price is actually pushing up very strong now. I think this is just the 8 o'clock candle. We might actually see that rejection to the downside. That candlestick might just be bluffing. Let's see. We're still below the 0.7. So yeah, this is basically what I'm going to watch out for on AED/USD. Yeah. If I see that break if I see that break of this structure to the upside, this one here to the upside, if I see the break of that lower high to the upside, then I'll be waiting for the retest, something like this, and then what the retest for a continuation. But then if I don't see that, and then instead price is actually around our point of interest right now, do you get? Instead of seeing that, we see like a rejection. Yeah, we see either a bearish pin bar or an engulfing candlestick, a bearish engulfing candlestick. Yeah, we can enter, but as long as price don't close above the 0.7, already price is around the 0.7 of our Fibonacci. And if price close above the 0.7, then that whole sell trade won't be valid for me again. I'll just look forward to another sell. You get price is already around there, and then it has not actually closed above, but then it's pushing above and coming back inside. So let's just watch out and see. Let's see how it goes. You guys should just keep an open mind and flow with the market. Yeah. So now let's go to NZD-USD and see what NZD-USD holds for us today. It's almost the same thing, but then NZD-USD is much more clear. Yeah, NZD shift in market structure is much more clear. We had the push, pull back, and then push, and then we pull back. We broke structure to the downside. Yeah, this is the whole move. And then around this neckline here, because this is basically our point of interest now. This was the low that was broken. That's where the shift happened. Yeah, we have this supply area here, this candlestick. We have the supply area there. So it's already an area of importance. But then if you drop to your, what you should look at for now is go to our 15 minutes here and see how price is going to behave. Let me see our Fibonacci range from the top to the bottom. Yep, we just tapped into the 50. We just tapped into the 50. The 0.6 is way above around here. So we can just watch out. Price, any sell positions are still valid here as long as we see what our entry criteria around these areas, yeah, around the golden ratio. So let's watch out for our entry areas. I mean, our entry criteria. If we see them, fine. If we don't see them, then we'll look for another setup. That's basically what I have on NZD-USD. The same thing with AUD. Long term, I'm bullish, but short term, I'm bearish. That's just it. Short term, I'm bearish. That's if I'm catching any sell here, I'm not going to hold on to that sell for long. If I catch a sell here, I'll basically exit at this low here, or at the close where this candlestick body is before the week. That's it. I'm not going to hold any sell for long, because if you look at the 4-hour range, we're still like bullish. Like if you look at the 4H and if you look at the 1 hour, if you zoom out of the 1 hour, I see that we're still bullish. So any sells you are catching should just be short term, not for long. Now let's take a look at Euro USD. Euro USD did not do that retracement we wanted it to do yesterday, that deeper pullback. We did not have it yesterday. And then now we're having some sort of, this whole thing here will look like a double top on our 15 minutes. If we go to our 15 minutes and take a look at it, it look like a double top. Yeah. It's, yeah, double top. Wow. It's more like a triple top. But then the most important thing is that price broke to the downside. So what you can look out for, I don't trade the 15 minutes. I don't like using the 15 minutes as my, it's not like, you know how you use the mid time frame to highlight your points of interest. You get, I don't like highlighting points of interest in the 15 minutes. Because I don't know, I don't, it's maybe, I don't want to say I don't have luck with it, but it's just that I'm not that kind of trader. I normally highlight my point of interest on the 1 hour. And if you check on the 1 hour, we can't see that point of interest is around here. That's that area. And it's not clear. It's just some candlesticks doing one thing I don't understand. Now, if you drop to the 15 minutes, it'll actually be clear. You see, bro? That's where that neckline is. So now if you drop your Fibonacci range, for those that want to take it, if you drop your Fibonacci range, this is your golden ratio area. It's around here. And then price just tapped inside and then it's rejecting. If you see your entry criteria, fine, you can enter as, and same thing with NZD, don't hold on to that sell for long. If you enter that sell, exit at this low here. That's basically it. So anywhere you take that sell, anywhere you see that entry criteria and take that sell, don't hold it for long. Let's take a look at GBP USD. Sorry guys, as if I'm running. Hope you guys are clear. The analysis I've been doing so far, I hope you guys understand. Is there any problem? What questions do you guys have? Before we look at GBP USD. GBP USD is kind of interesting. What questions do you guys have? So I'll take the silence as no questions. So now let's take a look at GBP USD there. Let's play with GBP USD. So GBP USD broke to the downside here yesterday, yeah, and then almost immediately broke to the upside, and then now we've retested, and then we're rejecting. We're like rejecting, but then this, I don't think this is like an impulse. This is going to be an impulsive move. The way the candlesticks are forming, the candlesticks are very, very half-baked. Like they are not strong. If you see them, they are having rejections at the top, showing you that sellers are actually present. You get? So they are not, this is not an impulsive move. This is basically a retracement. And a retracement from where? This bearish impulsive move here that was broke this higher low to the downside. So now let's go to our 15 minutes and see if we can see anything important. Honestly,
I'm actually on sale on this GBP USD.
you're on the sell already, yeah? Yeah. Well, for me right now, I'll need a whole lot of convincing before I get it on any trade USD right now. I don't want to forecast anything. I don't want to say anything about it. So I'll just monitor it for a while. Because there are just plenty of things to factor in, and if you start factoring in all of them, you end up with no trade. And I don't want to look at one side and then not look at another side, I guess. So I'm just going to let GBP USD be. Anyways, I've looked at all my pairs. You guys can, what questions do you guys have? And then you guys can start dropping the questions and then the pairs you want me to take a look at. I know somebody would say I should look at gold, so I'll just go ahead and start looking at gold. So you guys can drop pairs you want me to take a look at. Oh, sorry, I now open FXCM. What pairs do you want me to take a look at? You can drop it in the chat box. Gold. Gold is just okay. We don't have a clear break on gold. So okay, someone said I should look up on my entry criteria. Oh, that's like another class of its own. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly, I don't have anything on gold, unfortunately. It's if there was a break here, I'll be comfortable, but then there's no break. We are still retesting this point here. So if we have the break to the upside, then you can wait for the retest. That's just basically it. We don't have a break yet. So now my entry criteria here, I use one is what? The pin bars, the bearish pin bar, and then what's the this thing, the normal pin bar, that's the bullish pin bar. This is what the bearish pin bar looks like. Those of you that use red and green candles, that's what the bearish pin bar will look like. And then the bullish pin bar will basically look like this. Now, it's important that the candlesticks actually form. Like, you don't just see a candlestick like this and then you see that the candlestick is bearish. Like, the rejection is from down, and then instead of it being a bullish candle, it's a bearish candle, and then you want to call it a pin bar. Nah, that's not a pin bar. Do you understand? Same thing for the bearish pin bar. If you see this kind of formation, the candlestick is not bearish. That's for those that use red and green candlestick. If the candlestick is not red, don't use it. And one thing, it's not just by seeing this thing anywhere on your chart that you say, oh, it's an entry criteria. You have to see it at your point of interest. Do you get? Another candlestick listing I use was engulfing candlesticks. Let's say you're having up moves. Yeah, we are in this whole bullish market. Then all of a sudden you have a bearish candle that covers at least one. That what indicates strength. And this is basically vice versa for a bearish scenario. You're having a downtrend, and then you have, boom, you have one bullish candle that covers at least one of it, like strong candlestick that has no rejection from the downside. For the bullish, this thing is not supposed to have weak here like this. If it has weak here, it means that buyers are still present. If you see it, it covers it completely. like it covers it comfortably. That's what an engulfing candlestick will get. So now let's look at the other ones. The other entry criteria I use is what? Shifts in market structure. Both shifts in market structure, this type and then the other one. Yeah, I use this one. So anytime I see them out, I place my orders at the neckline. Yeah, that's basically what the point of interest. Then the other ones I use, this one I rarely use it, but then it's for double tops and double bottoms. Yes. All these things, what all these things have in common is what? They indicate what? Signs of reversal. Those of you that were in my market structure formation class, when I explained double tops, shifts in market structure, the key word all of them had, the thing all of them had in common was the fact that they all what indicate reversals. They all indicate what? The other party coming in to come and push the other party away from the market. That's just it. And then these candlesticks too, if you go back and read your candlestick trading Bible or any book about candlestick formations, you get to see that what these candlesticks do what indicates reversals. You get, so anytime you see them at your point of interest, it just gives you that added confirmation that what the market is actually what's going to reverse or your setup is going to hold. That's just it. It just gives you that indication that there's a high probability that it's going to happen. Do you understand? So what other questions do you guys have? The person that said I should do a recap on my entry criteria. I really can't do a full complete recap, like full class recap. But what I'll tell you is that DM me on Telegram and then I'll send you the video to the class I did on criteria. I hope that's cool with you. Anyways, any other questions? Okay, if there are no questions, then I would like to call it a day, like the end of the session. As usual, you guys should keep an open mind to the market. Do you get a strategy? I said this yesterday in my class yesterday at night. A strategy is not 100% this thing that price is always going to go your way. A strategy is just an indication that there's a high probability of something happening against another. Those of us that study statistics, this is a probabilities game. Do you understand? So you have to know how to think in probabilities. Lower your expectations or don't expect anything from the market. The only thing you can expect is that anything can happen. So always keep an open mind to accommodate price anytime it does anything. Do you understand? If you keep an open mind, you're always in the flow. You're always waiting for the market to speak to you. Do you get? And that's the only way you can see your entries. If you are only anticipating sales, if you are like keen on sales, and then you just want to take sales, and then you don't look at the other side. If a buy scenario come or a buy setup come, you are not going to take it. Do you understand? You not even see it. That's basically how it is. And if you take any position and price is getting to your stop loss, don't move your stop loss. You end up hurting yourself. So try and protect your capital as much as possible. Also, just honestly, just stay safe, guys, and be careful with the market. That's all. It's almost weekend already. That being said, those that will be watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel, and you can join the group. Oh, sorry, I did not send the link today, but you can check 123 Forex out on Instagram, and then the link to join the group is there, and you can still follow the Instagram page. Thank you, guys, and then I'll catch you guys another time.